Hello and welcome back to Slightly Spoiled. My name is Elise and today, once again, we're talking Love Island USA Season 6. Today, episodes 9, 10, and 12. 11 is After Sun, and you know how I feel about After Sun, okay? We're not talking about it. My eyes are never engaging with it. I feel like more happened in episodes 9, 10, and 12 than in all of episodes 1 through 8 combined. There were 3 people who went home, possibly a 4th, but we have to see in the next episode whether or not that happens. And up until now, there had only been 1 elimination. Also, just so much drama. I feel like a lot of things were brewing under the surface and they came to a head. So we have much to discuss. We left off with our new bombshells, Andrea and Nicole, choosing their men and therefore leaving Hannah and Leah single and vulnerable. Rob and Andrea waste no time. They go to Soul Ties right away to celebrate their new status as a couple. Meanwhile, Leah is dropping threats about, oh, this is going to bring out a side of me you guys have never seen before. And she also talks about how she doesn't even care that she's not with Rob anymore. He gave her the ick when he was crying, which is kind of mean. Leah is not the type of girl when she feels wronged to just sit by and take it. She is going to hurl insults at you or about you to everybody else. That just kind of comes with the territory. Hakeem and Liv have a conversation, which is my least favorite sentence to have to say every time these two interact. I'm in pain. I just hate them together. They hate each other. I need them split up ASAP. This gave me deja vu to Liv being in a love triangle with Rob and Leah. She is mad at Hakeem for stepping forward to potentially couple up with one of the new bombshells. She feels blindsided by this somehow, even though they have no connection. She, I guess, expected Hakeem to say to her, we have no connection. All he did was just give her a bunch of reasons why they're incompatible, and I guess that just didn't make it clear enough to her. This escalates so quickly. Liv gets extremely passionate whenever she's having a confrontation with someone. She starts screaming at him, calling him immature, calling him a liar, and he tries to kind of communicate with her calmly, but after a while he gets impatient and he yells that she's so negative in front of everyone. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna take Hakeem's side once again. Liv drives me a little bit crazy. Is he wrong? Is she not negative? It's kind of a mean thing to call her out in front of everybody, and the other girls certainly don't like it, but it's also true. This is pretty much the end of Liv and Hakeem. They sleep with a pillow between them that night, and in the morning, Kendall, Connor, and Aaron all bring her breakfast that they made for her and say, we're so sorry about Hakeem. You didn't deserve that, which I thought was really sweet. They do talk about it again once they've slept on it, and it goes a lot better. He apologizes for saying things that were disrespectful. She tells him that he should have just pulled her aside and let her know where his head was, and he agrees with her. She doesn't apologize for anything. She feels like it's done. He doesn't ask her to apologize, but I personally think that if we're talking about things that were disrespectful, she was as well. There's kind of a double standard here. She's mostly thinking about how she's been disrespected and not the other way around. Now that Leah's single, Connor definitely wants a piece of that, okay? He wants to kind of see if there's anything there. He hasn't felt comfortable doing so up until this point. And Janae's like, oh, thanks for telling me. Yeah, do whatever you want. But clearly she's not happy. Mostly because they kind of seem like a good match for each other. They both live in LA. Apparently they both love plants. I don't think we've heard them talk about that, but I guess that's a big part of both of their personalities. Janae's like, I don't know anything about plants. He's not gonna want to be with me over a girl who knows a lot about plants. And then Aaron is there and he's just giving her kind of random facts that he knows about plants. It's like she's cramming for a test or something. She just feels like she needs as much plant knowledge as possible to retain her man. Leah pulls Connor in the end, I think, and he tells her that he never really felt comfortable getting to know her because he's so close with Rob, and they just seemed like they had such a good thing going, but now that she's available, he's very excited to get to know her. Apparently she is also a little bit interested in him, so the flirting floodgates are open. The next morning they talk in the kitchen. Janae is standing right there and she's kind of freaking out but trying to be cool about it. And then later they have another conversation with her within earshot, and they're talking about how they both love SpongeBob and all of their favorite places in LA. And again, Janae was worried about exactly that she wouldn't have this connection with him that Leah does have. And so she's just kind of sad. It doesn't feel good to her. She feels like she's the second choice, and Leah is such a close friend of hers that it hurts even more. Serena and Cordell are still in a weird spot. She sort of broke up with him, and then he took it so well that she kind of changed her mind about it. And so they talk about that, and she compares herself to a cat in that she needs to feel comfortable enough to come to him. And he's like, this is kind of weird, but I like her, so I'll just kind of stay back. It seems like Cordell just doesn't really have anyone else that he's interested in. And so he's like, whatever it takes. I don't know, Serena, just do your thing, and hopefully you come around. Rob pulls Leah in hopes that they can kind of move on now that he's with Andrea, and she's like, actually, I'm appalled even looking at you right now. And they get in an argument about like who cares less about the other person's feelings. They both feel like they care and the other person doesn't care. This conversation really ends badly, and I think it comes down to Leah feels wronged by him and therefore wants nothing to do with him and kind of wants to make him pay for it. And Rob is the kind of person who would rather be on good terms than not with her. And so they're just not in alignment about where to go from here. Leah then pulls Janae and tells her like, hey, I know that you know I'm kind of getting to know Connor and I feel really weird about it. I don't want to walk on eggshells, but I would like to talk to him some more. Janae's like, yeah, thanks for telling me. I really am not loving this because I feel like I'm his second choice, but that's not really your fault. And then Leah starts crying and Janae comforts her, which I think is very mature. That would not be easy to do in this circumstance. Serena gets a text that there's going to be a blindfolded kissing game later, sponsored by Maybelline. This is a very classic Love Island challenge. The guys are all blindfolded. Girls take turns going up and kissing every guy, and then each guy rates each girl's kiss, and then they switch the roles and the girls are blindfolded and the guys are rated. I like this game fine. It usually causes drama. It usually makes people kind of consider connections that they hadn't otherwise, but there's a major flaw, and that is that they're wearing noise-canceling headphones during the kisses, but they take them off for the ratings. So like the guys can hear every other guy's rating. And especially if you're like the last one to rate, I feel like you would be swayed by everybody else's rating. Also, people kind of make guesses about, oh, I think it was this person or that person. And so I think that there would be more honest ratings if they couldn't hear one another's ratings. But I also get that they're trying to cause drama. You will hear somebody say, oh, that was such a great kiss. And it's like, well, that person barely gave me a peck. I get it, but I think it would be better the other way around. Just like every other game, the scores really don't matter, but some people care a lot about winning. And one of those is Leah. She is like going in with every single guy except for Rob. Similar story with Liv and Hakeem. She doesn't kiss him at all, or maybe gives him a little peck. It's unclear from the camera angle, but she's going for it with every other guy. It does not work though. She gets really bad ratings. All the guys say that they had to open their mouths too much and that she uses too much teeth, which is what Hakeem also said about her. So I think we need a kissing workshop of some kind, Liv. It's a little much. Whenever there's a game like this that is silent, you can tell that the producers are like, give us crazy reactions, and no one brings that better than Leah. She always has this kind of disgusted look on her face whenever Rob and Andrea are interacting, and it's so entertaining. Kaylor wins the kissing challenge for the girls. Again, it does not have any consequence at all. I feel like some of these games, there should be a date or something on the line, but I also understand with the kissing challenge, there's a lot of bragging rights there. The girls' reactions were a little bit more subdued. Again, Leah kind of carried that. The guys, on the other hand, are emoting like crazy. They're like getting physical with it. They're holding each other back. I mean, these guys, there's a theater kid or two. I promise you that. When it's Connor's turn, he kisses Leah for an exceptionally long time. And when the girls go to rate, Janae makes it clear that she knows his effort was not distributed equally between his two connections that he is supposedly pursuing. Kendall has something to prove. He is determined to score the highest, and he succeeds at that. One person who is particularly impressed by Kendall is Janae. She says, and I quote, "Proud of you," after the kiss. Hakeem seems to be a bit of an acquired taste kiss-wise. Liv notices it's him right away and therefore gives him a bad score. Who knows if the kiss was actually bad or not. She hates him, so it's probably that. But also if it was bad, maybe it's Liv's fault. You know, her reviews were not so hot. Leah compares her kiss with Hakeem to trying to kill a mosquito that just won't die. But then Hannah is like super into it. She gives him a 10. So I'm really confused. Like, what technique is this man using that's so polarizing? Rob says out of this bunch, he only wants to kiss Andrea, but of course he does kiss everybody else. And with Leah, he has a very different approach than she had with him. He kind of wants to show her what she's missing, and she knows it's him, so of course she still rates him low. Andrea's also locked in with Rob. Afterwards, when all the girls are rating him, she says, I hope you guys all enjoyed that because it's the last kiss you're gonna get from him. Like, that is my man, ladies. Aaron is the last of the guys to go. He's walking up, ready to smooch the ladies, and he gets swapped out for a new bombshell named Miguel. I am familiar with Miguel. I've seen him on social media, and I also remember during season 7 when everyone was talking about how the bombshells just weren't hitting, it was always Miguel. He's apparently the blueprint of like a hot bombshell that shakes everything up, and I understand why. All the girls were super into him, by the way, just from his kisses. He kind of focused his sights on Andrea, and he literally turns to the guys and he's like, I'm gonna take my time with this one, boys, sorry about it, which is kind of crazy because jumping ahead, he like doesn't even talk to Andrea, I guess because she's so locked in with Rob. Maybe he just kept his distance. Why did Aaron not get to do this challenge? Like, every girl, when they kissed Miguel, knew this was not one of the original 6 guys. So Aaron's just completely left out. I don't understand this. Kendall does get his wish, which is first place, and then Miguel gets second. So this guy is a threat, and the ladies are obsessed with him. I mean, he is a gorgeous man. Objectively, he's very attractive. He's from London, and so the ladies sit down with him to try to get to know him. He has never had a girlfriend before, which to me is a red flag in this scenario, okay? Miguel is such a flirt, such a smooth talker, and like the fact that he's never had a girlfriend before, player, F-boy. Like, it's so obvious. Not saying you can't also be a nice guy or be ready to settle down. I'm just saying I like watching him on TV. I think he's interesting and he's going to shake things up. But if one of my friends were going to date Miguel, I'd say, I'm worried about that guy. He does say that he'd like to leave in a relationship, but he also says things like, I'll do whatever it takes to stick around. He really wants to play the field to start, which again, lots of ladies are interested in him. I can't fault him for it, but I don't trust him. Janae snatches him immediately and is like, hey, are you hungry? Can I cook you some eggs? And he's like, that's a nice offer. Let's actually talk upstairs though. I'd rather get to know you a little bit. She tells him about her upbringing, spending quite a lot of time in Japan, and how she's always felt that she's going to marry a foreigner. She's dated multiple British men and has always pictured her children to have British accents. Coming on a little strong, if I do say so, but I feel like when you're as gorgeous and like charismatic as Janae, it doesn't feel weird, but like this is a lot of information to give someone you just met. And he is into her. They talk for a really long time until Liv interrupts them. They kind of compliment each other's accents. She's Australian, he's British, you know, they're hitting it off. He asks her what her dream first date is, and she's like, okay, you're gonna think this is weird, but I love to go to a theme park. What is weird about this? Okay, that is a fun first date. I think anyone would agree, pretty much, unless you're scared of theme parks or something. I feel like half of this show is just hot people trying to convince themselves they're quirky for extremely normal things. Hannah then comes to steal Miguel away after getting a pep talk from Kendall and Nicole, and Liv's reaction seeing Hannah walk up is so sweet. She's like, oh, here's my gorgeous girl. Like, yeah, you guys should get to know each other. Liv is so confusing. She's simultaneously the nicest person and the meanest one and the craziest one and the most sane. Like, what is going on with her? Hannah and Miguel barely talk at all. They bond over being spontaneous, and then there's kind of a distraction when Kayla and Aaron and Rob and Andrea jump in the pool and like make a big deal about it. So we barely get any screen time of these two. Serena pulls Miguel next, and he asks her the same question, what's your dream first date? This must be his go-to question, which is fair. Like, it's a good question. It does tell you something about the person. And she tells him that she likes competitive things like going to an arcade or something like that, but she will not fight over a man. Like, she may be competitive, but not when it comes to that. As if on cue, in walks a woman who will absolutely get competitive over a man, and that is Janae. Let us not forget that she offered to make Miguel eggs, and here she comes with a platter of 3 different preparations of eggs, okay? And Serena is not happy. She's like, you are my friend, and you know that I haven't really felt sparks with anybody, so you really have to come in right now and bring these eggs. And Janae is kind of playing dumb about it. She's like, what? He's hungry. Like, I'm just bringing food. What's the big deal? Janae sticks to this narrative of like, I'm just feeding a hungry man, okay? That's all I'm doing. I was not getting in the way of your connection. And it's just like the silliest thing ever to pretend that you're not bidding for his attention when you walk in with food you made him. And not only food, like the most extra preparation of food possible. Of all people, I would expect Janae to own this a little bit more, and it's just kind of annoying to see Serena express something really valid and have Janae be like, I guess, I mean, I'm just not the kind of person to blow things out of proportion, but I am sorry that you took it that way. Connor and Leah meet up on the dock, and he tells her that he rated Janae a 7 on purpose to kind of make her mad during the kissing challenge, which of course Leah thinks is funny. Like, she loves petty stuff like that. They also share their first kiss outside of a challenge, and it's in the rain. He then picks her up and spins her around, and she loves this, okay? She feels like she's in a movie. Leah's liking Connor. She likes that he's such a man, which is what every single girl is saying about Connor. Janae and Hakeem also have a conversation about their ratings. They happen to each rate each other a 10 out of 10 kiss-wise, which was a surprise because they've never really connected in this way. He's really excited because he likes to be friends first and feels like this is a great opportunity to connect. And she's also excited to connect with him, but she says something about her roster growing. It seems like that's maybe more where her mind is, like being spiteful toward Connor. This whole Connor thing has just unlocked something in Janae. She no longer cares about being anyone's friend. She's burning bridges left and right. And so when they're kind of getting ready for bed, Leah says, yeah, I'm really excited to talk to Miguel, but I didn't get a chance today. And Janae is like, oh yeah, because you were so busy. Of course, alluding to her kissing Connor. Leah tells her, he's not your boyfriend, and I told you that I was interested in getting to know him. And Janae's like, I actually don't care at all, which is clearly not true. And if it is true, why are you throwing jabs at Leah over it? In the morning, Liv gives Miguel kind of a hard time about not coming to her. He's like, yeah, I'm just kind of a little more shy. I'm a little more chill. She's like, sounds like laziness to me. I feel like Liv has that same thing that I like about Janae, where she's not that worried about getting people to like her. Like, she's honest and she'll give people a hard time if she wants to, which can be refreshing. Again, I don't always like it, but he clearly is into that. He's really vibing with her. At this point, Rob gets a text that there's going to be a recoupling tonight. One girl will be left single and she will be out of the villa. Cordell pulls Serena aside because during the challenge, they had some really passionate kisses, which again was the problem initially. She wasn't feeling sparks, so it seems like maybe that's fixed, but also she's talking to Miguel at this point and he knows that. So he's asking her how that's going. She tells Cordell, Miguel's cool, you know, we talked a little bit, but you're still my number one. And he's kind of excited and optimistic about where things are going, but he's also very aware that there's a recoupling. Does she actually mean what she's saying, or is she hedging her bets? Because Miguel has multiple girls that he's talking to, but Cordell is mostly invested in Serena. The other guys are also wanting him to be very cautious about this. They feel like he can't really trust Serena. They've been together for how long, and she's just kind of been stringing him along. Nothing's really come of it. He's considering whether he should couple up with Hannah as a friend instead of Serena, because is this ever going to go anywhere? I haven't really talked about fashion this season other than a couple of Ariana's looks when she makes an appearance. Most of Love Island style is kind of all the same stuff. It's like cheap Shein dresses with a lot of cutouts and it's just a different color, you know? But I have to call attention to Serena's look for the recoupling. It's not even really her outfit. Like, she's wearing a leather jacket and that's cute, but it's the styling. She's wearing dark lipstick and she does these like pigtail buns that look so good on her. She wore them again later on. It's just such a good look for her. I had to call attention to it. And then on the flip side, we have Rob wearing his shirtless overalls again, and it still does not sit right with me. It's time for the recoupling. Aaron goes first, and of course he chooses Kaylor and says some really sweet stuff about her. Like, he's so excited every morning to wake up next to her. They are so cute. Next we have Kendall, who chooses Nicole. They've been smooth sailing so far, so that was kind of an obvious one. Rob is next, and again, very obvious, he chooses Andrea, and he kind of flips into a Southern accent. I know he's from Alabama and this can happen with accents, but it felt very out of left field, and I was really glad that someone called attention to it. I think it was Nicole. He also uses what I'm assuming is some kind of a Southern phrase. He says they go together like butter and toast. Nice, but a little crunchy. I don't really know what a little crunchy means. Is that like spicy? I'm not really sure. And the whole time, Leah is just emoting like crazy. She's so sick of Rob and needs everyone to know it. Connor then chooses Leah, and he says it's an easy decision, which is obviously a little insensitive given the whole situation with Janae. Next, we have Miguel, who is by far the biggest wild card, not only because he's new, but because he talks to every single woman like he is falling in love with her as they speak, giving everybody compliments, saying, you know, kind of sexual innuendos sometimes. He chooses Liv and says it's because they have such great banter, and it finally feels like Love Island because someone said the word banter in a British accent. Cordell is the last to go, and he's really trying to throw everybody off the scent. He uses words like, this is very fresh, things have been happening recently, and so people are like, oh my gosh, he's gonna pick Hannah. But he doesn't. He does pick Serena in the end. And of course that means that Hannah is going home. I love how dramatic eliminations are in Love Island, especially when it's a girl. Like, everyone's crying and sobbing. And this is really the first time we're getting that this season because Coy, it was like crickets from him and from everybody else. Personally, I'm not upset. I would have chosen her to go home if it had been up to me. Mostly just because she doesn't really bring anything to the table. It's not that I don't like her, but she's like not really had any serious connections and she's not really likable or really interesting. So that might be kind of mean to say, but I really don't care that much that Hannah's gone. After the recoupling, Liv and Miguel chat in soul ties and they do smooch. And he says that this is going well and it has solidified their connection for now. This man, of course, he's not settling down just yet. That's a crazy thing to expect him to do. And literally moments later, we see him talking to Nicole and being like, hey, my options are still open, by the way. Like, I'm still thinking about getting to know you, which is surprising because we barely saw him interact with her at all. Hakeem and Janae talk about the fact that they'll be sleeping in a bed together, and they agree that he is going to be the little spoon. I'm really glad that he found someone who was down with this, although Janae says that it's very much a friendship to her. Our final new couple is not doing well, but only one of them actually knows that. Connor is blissful. He's excited not to be with Janae anymore. That's gone kind of sour. Things have been going really well with Leah. Like, how exciting. They get to be a couple now. Well, she's disgusted by him all of a sudden. Now that she has him, she does not want him. She says she doesn't want him to kiss her, doesn't want him to touch her. She hates his little skinny jeans. She's like, oh, his jeans are so tight. She's telling Serena all this. She knows consciously that it's like kind of toxic of her to be feeling this way, but she's just sick of him already. And then Janae walks over and Leah tells her reluctantly, she's kind of embarrassed. And this kind of breaks the ice between the two of them. Janae obviously finds it hilarious. That night, Connor tries to snuggle her and she's like, ugh, I can't do that. I run so hot. Like, I just don't like snuggling at all, which is probably not true overall, but it's definitely true for Connor. She does not want that man touching her. Kayla and Aaron are so cute after this recoupling. They're getting so sentimental about their connection and how they both just weren't expecting anything like this before. They're kind of snuggling, sitting up and kissing, and they're just so cute together. Serena tells Cordell that she's really sorry that she kind of cut herself off from that connection and tried to run away. She's realizing that she kind of does like him in a romantic way, and they kiss, you guys. They kiss for the first time outside of a challenge. We have turned the corner, and I'm so glad because I love these two together, and it has been an excruciating wait, okay? Talk about a slow burn. In the morning, Leah is still talking about Connor and how he's just like so sweet and so safe, and she doesn't like that. She wants a man who makes her a little bit crazy and acknowledges that this makes her toxic, but still can't really fight against it. And she says that she hates touching him at night and also during the day, which is so funny. Nicole is questioning her relationship with Kendall a little bit. He's been really laying it on thick with PDA recently, and she's not sure if that's because she told him she likes PDA or if it's because Miguel is around and he wants to mark his territory. Cut to her talking to Miguel later that day, and it is definitely going well. She admits that he's her type. Exactly. And she's like, Kendall's probably really jealous of me talking to you right now. And it's true. Kendall is in fact talking to the guys about how jealous he is. Andrea and Rob are getting along a little too well for my comfort. He tells her that every time he's near her, things occur for him downstairs, and it's becoming an issue. What is it about Rob always giving us too much info about his nether regions, and why is Andrea always so into it? I know it's a compliment, but I would be like, can you stop with that? Okay, cool it down. Liv gets a text that there's going to be a festival themed challenge called Burning Love, and this is one of the ones that I hate. It's overly sexual. There's a lot of food and like colorful liquids, and it just becomes so disgusting as it goes on. Like, I hate these challenges. Both members of a couple will put on these kind of distortion glasses, and the man has to tell the woman how to get to a cupcake. He's like giving her directions so that she then licks the top of the cupcake. Okay, then we have to get cake and feed it to each other. I think the woman has to feed it to the man, but then it obviously devolves into them just rubbing cake all over themselves because that's just how these challenges always go. Then they go over and pick up a slushie, which is actually just clear liquid. Not clear, it's tinted, but it's fully liquid. It's not ice. And it's basically like the water challenge from the last episode. So they read off a question and it's like, which couple is ... and they have to pick a couple and then throw the liquid in that couple's face. This is the worst part, okay? I literally could throw up. They have to sit kind of in front of a toilet and look for their phone that they dropped in a toilet, and colorful liquid squirts out of the toilet onto their faces. And then to top it all off, they have to take a little selfie and then go make out with each other on this like slippery platform. It is simply revolting. I'm sorry, like, call me a prude, whatever. Are people watching this and getting into it, like getting horned up? Are the producers thinking like this is hot and sexy, or are they kind of leaning into it and trying to make it gross? What is the deal? Kendall and Nicole are first, and they get the question, which couple is most likely to burn another couple? And they choose Liv and Miguel. Leah and Connor then go and get which couple would you not want to be stuck in a desert with? And they pick Hakeem and Janae. This is where it really heats up, okay? Serena and Cordell get the question, which couple is the most toxic? And they choose Leah and Connor. And they kind of ask Serena to explain. And she says, well, Connor, you made a little comment during the recoupling about Janae. And like Leah's kind of toxic too. You both are separately. And so probably as a couple, you are too. And Leah's like, wait a second. Why do you think I'm toxic? You're my best friend. And Serena says, honestly, the reason that I know is because we are so close. I know that you're toxic. And it's true. Leah is toxic and she's admitted it herself. And so these two are kind of getting into it. And then Janae says, get along, ladies. And Connor goes, coming from you? Ooh, Liv and Miguel are next, and they get the question, which couple is faking it until they make it? And they choose Hakeem and Janae, except just Hakeem. They both throw their slushies in Hakeem's face. And I know that Liv is like still mad at Hakeem because they got into a screaming match 5 minutes ago, but Miguel is clearly drinking Liv's Kool-Aid. He's talking about how Hakeem is just not here for love. He's obviously hearing that from Liv and spouting it, and that's fine. They're in a couple, but what makes anybody think that Hakeem's not here for love? I don't get that. I am the first to say that he is a little bit annoying, but he seems as genuine as any of these people. A little more drama comes when Kaylor and Aaron get which couple is most likely to burn out first, and they pick Leah and Connor. And both Janae and Kaylor kind of call Leah out for already being burnt out on Connor. And Connor obviously knows nothing about this. He's a little confused. It's kind of embarrassing. I felt really bad for him. Also, Kaylor and Aaron cracked me up during this challenge. They are screaming orders at each other, but in a very playful way. Like, their dynamic is hilarious. Rob and Andrea go next, and they get the question, which couple would you like to see dumped next? And they choose Hakeem and Janae because they just don't think this relationship is going anywhere, and it's not. Like, that's just true. Janae and Hakeem go last. They get the question, which couple is the most annoying? And they choose Leah and Connor, but really just Connor. They both throw their slushies at him. Once again, I think they're kind of fighting Janae's battles. Hakeem's willing to go along with it. After the game, Connor's like, hey, Leah, what was that about you being burnt out on me? Like, are you not into me? And she kind of plays dumb about this, which I really do not like. She tells him, I'm still interested in you. You know, sometimes I think about Rob and I feel like that's still affecting me, but I think you and I are on the same page. She obviously felt strongly enough about it to tell her friends how icked out she was by Connor. And it seems like maybe she's changed her mind or decided to try to pursue it anyway. And even if that's true, I think he deserves to know. She does say she feels like a bad person. She knows he's so mature and so kind and has been really great to her. So she wants to give it another chance. But if he's such a great guy, doesn't he deserve to know this? He just kind of got publicly embarrassed about it. And so I think he deserves to know why people said what they said, instead of you just being like, I have no idea. Like, it's probably just this former thing that I'm still thinking about. Like, no, you literally said that you're disgusted by him and hate his clothes and don't want him to touch you or kiss you or anything. Kendall tells Cordell that he's trying really hard to stay optimistic about his connection with Nicole, but he can tell that she likes Miguel and that he's very much her type. Meanwhile, Miguel is telling Nicole that even though he chose Liv initially, he feels a stronger connection with her. And if he could choose over again, he would pick her this time. And she is telling him that she really likes Kendall, but she doesn't feel those butterflies, those sparks the way that she feels with Miguel. The edit of this is so cruel to Kendall. I genuinely feel bad for him. He's like bouncing around with Aaron and they're rapping this song about how Kendall is so sexy and has such genuine intentions. And so it's just like cutting back and forth between Miguel and Nicole really connecting and like sharing a smooch, and then Kendall being like, I'm sexy, I have genuine intentions, and bouncing all over the place. Like, it's a little bit of an ick, unfortunately. Nicole tells Kaylor that she just kissed Miguel, and she's kind of freaking out because she knows she has to tell Liv and she knows she has to tell Kendall. And then Liv walks in the room and Nicole tells her, and Liv handles it so well. Again, Liv sometimes handles confrontation amazingly and sometimes is so immature about it. But she's like, yeah, thanks for telling me. You know, if you guys are right for each other, then I want you to be together. Kaylor and Aaron have a conversation about logistics, like if they're still together at the end of this, what's going to happen? He lives in the UK and he's like, oh, I'll move to the US. Like, I love moving. I really don't mind. And he kind of doesn't like to be held down in a specific city. Kaylor wants to make sure that ultimately he is okay with being confined to a city. And he's like, yeah, you know, once I settle down one day. He really wins me over in this conversation because he tells her that he's really excited to take her to the West End. He starts geeking out about musicals, okay? We give him a pass, or at least I do, because he doesn't remember the name of The Wizard of Oz, but he starts gushing about Wicked and how it's so good. It's about the Wicked Witch. You'll never see her the same way again. Like, we just have to go go see this musical. Aaron constantly is surprising me. Him saying that he wants to have a bunch of kids. I was not expecting that. Him pulling out fluent Spanish and saying it's his first language. Him loving musicals. He just contains multitudes. I know we all do, but no one more than Aaron, okay? He is such a surprise all the time. Cordell and Serena hang out in Soul Ties, and it is further confirmation that everything has changed between these two. She turns to him and says, "Can I have some smoochies?" Like, she wants to kiss this man. And he also makes a joke about how, whoa, you're moving a little too fast for me, and they both giggle about it. So clearly they can kind of move past this issue that they had. I was scared that everything was going to kind of lapse between the two of them and, you know, nothing would happen. But I feel like now they're a very strong couple. Connor and Janae talk, and it really does not go well. He feels like he communicated to her clearly that he was going to talk to Leah. And she's like, yeah, exactly. You told me you were going to start talking to Leah, and we really haven't spoken since then. Like, I was under the impression that you were still going to explore things with me, and you basically jumped ship to Leah right away. And he just is not willing to hear her out. I think she's right in the conversation, but she also doesn't handle it very well. She kind of starts shouting over him. It's very Liv of her. She tells him that he's not listening to her, and I think she's not really listening to him either. I don't think that he had bad intentions with all of it. I wish these two could just agree to disagree on this situation, because it seems like the love connection, whatever there was, is gone now. So I wish they could just get along, but she's really upset. And I understand that. I do think she's correct, but she's a little bit below the belt, in my opinion. She's yelling over him, saying that she's lost all respect for him, and it just is hard to watch, honestly. In walks Ariana to announce that America voted for their favorite couple and that 2 people will be leaving tonight. And since you ask, I do believe that I would have voted for Serena and Cordell as my favorite couple. It's hard to say though. I feel like all of my favorite people are not in strong couples, and all the strong couples are people that I just don't really care that much about. Like Rob and Andrea, they're cute together, but I don't really care that much about them as a couple. But for me, it would have been Serena and Cordell, maybe Aaron and Kaylor, if I was voting purely on the best couple that I also like the people in, if that makes sense. Liv and Miguel are immune since he is so new. There are 3 safe couples and 3 couples in danger. So the safe couples are announced in this order: Serena and Cordell, Kaylor and Aaron, and Leah and Connor. The couples in danger are split up, so it's 3 girls, 3 guys, and 1 of each is going home. So not necessarily a full couple. The guys in danger are Rob, Hakeem, and Kendall, and the girls are Andrea, Janae, and Nicole. The safe boys have to vote on a boy to go home, and the safe girls have to vote on a girl to go home. And Leah's really mad because she says the guys, it's a really easy decision. Not the case with the girls. The girls unanimously agree that Janae is not going anywhere. They're all super close with her, and that leaves Andrea and Nicole. Leah questions whether Andrea is here for the right reasons. It's very interesting that the person you feel suspicious of is also the one who stole your man, okay? I don't love Andrea. She's not my favorite. I don't love her and Rob together necessarily, but I have seen no reason to believe that she is not genuinely into Rob and genuinely wanting to be with him. Liv and Kaylor also tell the other girls that Nicole and Miguel kissed, so it's not just a strong connection between Nicole and Kendall as they might have previously thought. The guys deliberate too, and the main topic of conversation is Nicole, specifically Miguel's relationship with her. Does he think that Nicole still wants to get to know Kendall, or is that kind of done and over with? And Miguel does score points for me with this because he says Nicole is still interested in Kendall. It would have been very easy for him to say, nope, she only likes me. Get that competition out of here. The guys unanimously decide to vote out Hakeem, and I agree with Leah. I think this is a pretty easy decision. As much as I talk about how I'm protective over Hakeem, I feel like he's a nice guy who's had a bad run here. He also has no connection and never really has had a strong connection, so it's obvious that he should be the one to go. The girls say that their decision was also unanimous, and they have decided to vote out Andrea, which is an unpopular decision among pretty much everybody else. Rob is freaking out and immediately is like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm self-eliminating. And the guys are trying to convince him not to. This is the thing that I was talking about. It's kind of a cliffhanger. We don't know. Is Rob going to stay? Is he going to leave with Andrea? All the guys are outraged about this because, again, Rob and Andrea had a very strong connection and some people didn't, okay? And this is very obviously referring to Janae Everybody knows that, including Janae, and it's kind of sad. It does very much hurt her feelings. I was surprised at this decision. I knew that they weren't going to vote Janae out because they said so, but Andrea is by far the one with the strongest connection. And in season 7, when eliminations like this would happen, specifically Hannah comes to mind, like someone who has a really strong connection, and people kind of rationalized sending her home because she's already gotten to find a connection and so she can go now. That was always framed as something new that happened on season 7. People online just made it seem like that was unprecedented when it happened and that was a season 7 problem. I'm of the opinion that the people on this show, when given the opportunity to send somebody home, they can do it for whatever reason they want to. And if Leah is able to get her girls to rally around her to send home the girl she doesn't like, she has that option. You know, there isn't a clear set of rules, but I do think as a viewer, you can have an opinion about it. And as another person in the villa, you can have an opinion about it. It is hard to watch. Andrea is so upset. Rob is so upset and pissed off. And again, thinking of leaving himself. So we will see where that goes. Selfishly, I am glad that Janae is still here. Like, she is really fun to watch. And the Rob and Andrea storyline, as much as I think they're a sweet couple together, and who knows, they maybe would have gone the distance and maybe they're still together for all I know, I don't find that as interesting to watch as Janae kind of dating around. That brings us to the end of this recap. This season is going crazy for sure. Again, this recap in particular, these 3 episodes, I feel like so much happened. I have completely different opinions on some of these people. A lot of people went home. Please make sure that you follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're using to listen to this so that you don't miss my future recaps or future episodes. I'll be talking Love Island again a week from today, and on Tuesday we'll be doing part 2 of Angels and Demons, so make sure you catch up on part 1 before then if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you will let me talk your ear off again one day soon. Bye!